So today we do want to recognize somebody right over here. We had a late dignitary show up. Jack Thorson, Area 2 Vice Chair, right over here, standing up. Big round of applause to Jack. And right now what I'd like to introduce you to is, and also I'm going to ask you to give a round of applause to a few other people here. If you notice around this tent, there are a lot of volunteers for the presidential candidates. Each one of these people do a wonderful job representing their candidates in an honorable and respectful way. And I don't think any other state other than New Hampshire could do it as well and as good as we do it here. And it's because of these volunteers for these campaigns that don't look at each other as enemies, but look at each other as people representing a different candidate, but with the same purpose, to make President Obama a one-term president. So good for them. To help me with my voice a little bit, the next person I'm going to introduce you to is going to introduce one of those presidential candidates. We're very blessed to have a presidential candidate here. I'd like to introduce you to a dear friend of mine, and there's a lot of things I can say about Skip. One, he is the host of Granite Rock, but the thing is this. Great soldiers come from great parents. And Skip and his wife Debbie were pleased to welcome back their son, who served in the 101st Airborne, recently back from Afghanistan. He is a wonderful young man, and we are proud when we have these great young men leave New Hampshire and go forth and represent us. And it's because of great parents like Skip and Debbie that make it that much more pleasurable for us in New Hampshire. We truly do produce the greatest leaders, the greatest soldiers, and the greatest parents. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Skip Murphy.
My name is Skip Murphy, and I am the founder and owner of GraniteRock.com, New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site. We do go around to a lot of events like this, and we video them, so if you have friends or family that haven't seen or could not come to this event or any other event, we try to video them all over the state. We put them up on Granite Rock to let people decide on their own without the filter of the press, geez, is the candidate for me or not? And I think Jeff is right. We are blessed, being the first in the nation primary, to have lots of these candidates coming in. And I'm very pleased to introduce one to you today. He has been elected from the southeastern part of Michigan. He is in his 9th year of being a congressman. He has been the chairman of the House Republican Policy Committee and is both a fiscal and a social conservative. I know who he is. We've had him on Granite Rock a number of times. I look back when he announced that he was going to run for president. And this weekend, this being our 4th event for Granite Rock to go around and do these events, I arrive early and he follows me. I arrive early and he follows me. And yet again, I got here early and he's stalking me. And I would like to introduce to you the Republican congressman from the state of Michigan and the candidate for the Republican nominee, Thaddeus McCotter.
I hate to alarm you, Skip, but you introduced me and I followed you. It's wonderful to be here with you today. My name is Thaddeus McCotter. I am currently, and most importantly, a husband to my wife Rita, a registered nurse, and the father to our 3 children. George, who's at Grand Valley State, Timothy, who's at Catholic Central High School, and Amelia, the baby girl, who's 13, who's going to be entering high school in the fall, which is a little comfort to my wife and I, because the boys are starting to call. But one of the reasons that I'm honored to be with you today is because I've also always been a Republican. I entered the party at the precinct delegate level. I was then entrusted with the responsibilities to be a local chair, to be a county chair, to be honored by the people like you, who are the heirs of people who have championed human freedom from Abraham Lincoln through Ronald Reagan. And that is why I seek the presidency of the United States. Because in this very difficult period of time, where Americans are very concerned that they are being alienated from the very institutions that are supposed to represent them, when they feel and ask the question, do we matter anymore? We as Republicans have to affirm that the answer is yes. Because as in other critical periods of time in the life of this nation, it has been the Republican Party that has arisen, that has helped to awaken America, that has helped to transcend the challenges. And it will be no different for this generation of Americans. You will be in the lead of restructuring the massive institutions such as big government, such as the bailout banks, that is necessary to get the economy moving again, to get Americans to understand that they do matter. So I do not come here today as a fellow Republican to comfort you. I come here today to challenge you. To challenge you to deal with the problems of globalization, which are creating chaos in people's lives so they can transcend them and again pursue their happiness. I challenge you to help support our men and women in the field that in this time of war and stagnation are defending your liberty by expanding it to others abroad. I challenge you to face up to the reality that for this generation, the People's Republic of Communist China is a strategic threat and rival model of governance in the same way that the Soviet Union was to past generations of Americans. And finally, I ask you, I challenge you to stand up for the concept of self-government so that you as families, as individuals, you as members of a community can band together and provide what de Tocqueville called the voluntary associations that form the backbone of America's free republic. And I will admit one thing to you now, that when I issue this challenge, I have absolutely no doubt that you will accept it. And that when we are completed with healing America and moving us back to the path of exceptionalism we have inherited and will bequeath to our children, future generations will look back and they will thank you for being as wide awake as Republicans as they were in 1860 or as they were in 1980. Thank you, people of New Hampshire, my fellow Republicans. God bless you. Good night.
For those of you, anyone here ever been to CPAC? Raise your hand. Anyone ever wanted to go to CPAC? If you haven't been to CPAC, you really should go. It's a great trip. One of the top 3 speeches given at CPAC is still online, was by that gentleman, Thaddeus McCutter. I will remind you of one other thing, Skip.
Yes.
He's not only stalking you, he's wearing the same shirt as us.
He's also getting in the way of my camera.
So,